Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we are going to be talking about MTSS-B exploration, assessing related initiatives. And I am here with my colleagues at the Bureau of Student Wellness, Molly White and Catherine Lesswing. And you may have seen us before in some of our other videos as well, where we're talking about the exploration process in looking at MTSS-B. So, as I was saying, we have some other videos where we're just basically bringing you through the steps of what is it like to explore MTSS-B. And so in previous videos, we've discussed what it's like to establish an exploration team, and some details about who should be on that team, and the reasons to have a team and what that can develop into. And we've also discussed establishing a shared understanding of MTSS-B. We last got together and talked about assessing current partnerships and what that looks like within the community. And we looked at our tool, the community resource map, and went over how to use that. So today we're going to move on to the next part of exploration where we are assessing current initiatives. And this comes just before we're deciding to adopt. So, good question. Why do we assess these initiatives? So this is a great way for a district or school to get together and look at on a tool, what are we currently working on? Let's develop our inventory of our behavioral health and wellness initiatives. Let's look and see how they're being measured. Let's also look and see if there's any redundancy. Are there several initiatives that are similar? Can we change some of these initiatives and just focus on a small number of integrated initiatives? So this tool that we'll show you in just a few minutes really just kind of helps identify our focus while we're starting to really, get ready to see if we want to adopt MTSS-B.
Thanks so much, Susan, for introducing why a district or a school might assess the current behavioral health and wellness initiatives that they're already doing. We will reveal the tool on the next slide, but before we do that, we just wanted to give you an example of what initiatives you might consider putting down on paper. And doing this exercise, like Susan said, really helps a district or a school get a snapshot of what systems are already in place. MTSS-B is all about coordinating the systems that serve students' behavioral health and wellness needs. And so in order to do that, we need to know what's actually happening. So some initiatives to be considered at the tier 3 level. So this is students who have the most intensive needs. So these would be the most intensive services or interventions, can include a functional behavioral assessment, wraparound services, having a facilitated referral process with your mental health partner, or also having mental health services offered in an integrated model in the school. Tier 2, this is your more targeted interventions, tends to be more small group and can include social skills groups, check-in, check-out, mentoring, peer support programs, and other systems. And lastly, tier 1, this should really be maybe the heart of some of your strategies that you're implementing, because this is your prevention level strategies. So what are all students getting district-wide, or if you're doing this at the school level, school-wide? Is there a recommended SEL curriculum that the district is doing? What's the family engagement process? Is there a universal social emotional screening process for students, or acknowledgement systems, or school-wide behavior expectations, et cetera? Those are your tier 1 systems. So this is what you're seeing right now is a snapshot of the actual tool. We recommend doing this at the district level if you have a district level team assembled, which is likely in your exploration team that you have set up. Some districts do just have a school level MTSS-B process going, in which case it would be appropriate to do this at the school level too, but you want to make sure you're distinguishing between whether this is a district level inventory, or if you're doing it school by school. But the tool can be used for both. And so you can see here the first half of the tool. On the first column, you would put the name of the program, the students that are served. So is it district-wide? Is it elementary only? Is it middle and high school? That's a drop-down box for you. And then you would indicate which tier this system or initiative addresses. Is it a tier 1, 2, or 3 service? So this is along the same row here, and we can see the fourth column. Here's column D, goals and intended outcomes. So you would put the goals or intended outcomes of the program that you're putting down to paper. You would describe which personnel are involved in implementing this program, and then you would describe the actual outcomes. Again, this is a drop-down button and allows you to select whether there are no positive outcomes, whether there's some evidence of positive outcomes, or whether there is a lot of evidence of positive outcomes.
Thank you so much, Catherine and Susan, for introducing the tool and explaining why we would use it. The last piece of the initiative alignment inventory is what I have up on the screen now. It's a tab where you can share discussion around key insights that you may have gleaned from filling out this tool for your district or for your school. The example here is, guidance curriculum, SEL curriculum, mindfulness could complement each other better. That would be looking at the goals that Catherine showed in the previous steps. If you look at those and all the goals are kind of redundant, that's a key takeaway or an insight. That's something you could work toward and really mobilize this information in order to improve the system that is MTSS-B within your district. There's no action column here because you are still in the phase of exploration. Right now, you're exploring what exists in preparation for the decision of whether or not MTSS-B is the right fit for you. So all of this would be in preparation to then begin the work in implementation. The key insights here I've seen, vary quite a lot depending on how long districts have been gathering the info, if it is a district or if it is a school. So this is always an interesting part of the process, because you can see sometimes plain as day that you have a ton of tier 2 and 3 interventions because it is color coded, but absolutely lacking in tier 1. And, that implies some need there perhaps, versus the flip flop. They have a lot of tier 1, and then, maybe tier 3 isn't as necessary because they're preventing a lot of those behaviors. So this is always kind of my favorite part of the initiative alignment inventory, is seeing what the districts and schools kind of take away from this conversation and hope to implement. And with that, we wrap up the phase of assessing current initiatives in the exploration stage. So next time you see us, we will be beginning the conversation of deciding whether or not to adopt and implement MTSS-B. As always, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to learn about MTSS-B with us. And if you have any questions or want to use this tool, feel free to reach out. We'll put a link to our contact information in the space down